My name is Mike Shahan. I'm the airport director, and we are at Scholes International Airport here in Galveston. What I know about Bob Scholes, he was very young. He learned to fly, I believe it was in 1917, 1918, when he was just 16 years old. He worked at Ellington Airfield as a mechanic back then, learned to fly, and he's actually the very first licensed pilot in Galveston County, or first plane owner in Galveston County. Bob Scholes and Finn Waters used to do barnstorming and flying, giving rides and so forth down on East Beach. Sometime in the early 1920s, the city fathers at the time thought they were too dangerous, and they told them they had to get out of town. They had to go somewhere else, out of the city limits. So Finn Waters had a friend that grew watermelons and so forth. It was a farm, so they came out and they started using that location. It was about 1929, 1930, the city fathers wanted to have an airport to help support the thriving entertainment industry, the Balinese ballroom, the gambling and all that, so they started looking for an airport. Well, it so happens where Bob and Finn were operating out of is now the Scholes International Airport. It was perfectly suited. So that particular airport opened up in 1932. You can still see some of the original features of the airport. It had a couple of different runways made out of seashell and gravel. And Bob Scholes was appointed the first airport manager in 1932. Well, around 1941, the military took over the Galveston Municipal Airport, that it was called at the time, in 1942. And the military built the facilities that we have now. They had 3 paved concrete runways, lots of ramp areas, hangars, support facilities, and it was the Galveston Army Airfield. Where there were observation training, there were aerial gunner training going on. Also advanced fighter training in P-51s and P-40s. Well, after the war ended in 1945, the Army deeded it back over to the city of Galveston. The airport deeded it back over to them in 1946. It opened back up again as the Galveston Municipal Airport. The entertainment industry was still thriving. Bob Scholes was reappointed the airport manager again, and airline service picked right back up. Well, they saw a need for a modern airport terminal building. So they designed our existing airport terminal building, and they finished it in late 1949. At the time, it was one of the most prestigious airport terminals of its kind for an airport of this size. And it's a very stout terminal building. It's gone through a lot of hurricanes and has never failed us. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, the Scholes Airport experienced a tremendous rebuilding. A lot of hangars were built out here on the airport, quite a few of them, matter of fact, and they stayed pretty full. It's a very active airport. And then in 2008, we had Hurricane Ike, and obviously it was pretty devastating to all of Galveston, but in particular the airport. At 5.5 feet above sea level, we had over 8 feet of water in the airport terminal building.
Right here, we're at about 7 foot above sea level. The storm surge was about 12, 15 foot, and it damaged all the hangars on the airfield, and we lost 33 aircraft, 32 fixed wing and one helicopter. Everybody tried to fly their aircraft out. Some of them weren't airworthy, and then we run out of pilots also. A friend of mine inherited this plane in his father passed away, and it was in probate, and he got the plane. He wasn't a pilot, and he left it here. And this is in front of my hangar. You can see what's written on the door. I kicked my ass. This plane was in my hangar, not my. I loaned hangar space to a friend of mine, and her husband came down, and he was pretty disappointed. He asked me, he said, "How come y'all didn't put Linda's plane in the hangar?" And I said, "It was in the hangar." This is the back side of the terminal building. This is where the counter used to be for the FBO. And the Coke machine, I don't know where it came from.
All the hangars, the hangar we were sitting in, water was over about 12 to 13 feet high here. There was not a single facility on the airport that wasn't damaged in one way or another. Some of the projects we've been working on, the very first project I was involved with out here, it was started by the previous airport manager, Hud Hopkins. It was a new ramp area for hangars, hangar development. And we've got one 60 by 60 hangar built there right now, and part of our bid packet is to build 2 more box hangars similar to it, that same location. We put a perimeter fence a couple of years ago around the airport. It was almost 4 miles of perimeter fence. In the past, the airport had never been fenced in, but that's mainly for security and just to replace the old deteriorating fence that was there. We've just finished about a $5.1 million capital improvement project that was repaving the primary runway, 1432. We've got another project coming up next year that will repave the secondary runway, 1836. They'll be rehabbing it, and then the remaining south apron and south ramp area. That's a very big project. We're currently in the process of remodeling the air traffic control tower. We've replaced some windows, upgraded the window frames to stainless steel, replacing handrails that were steel that are replacing it with stainless steel, replacing air conditioning units, just weather tightening the air traffic control tower. And it looked like a brand new building again. We've just started off our current airport master plan update. And an airport master plan lays out the details or development goals of the airport over a 5, 10, and 20-year period. It's quite an involved project, and we've just started off. The public will be involved in that, or be invited to be involved. We like the public's feedback, and it's a very important document for the airport and the city, because based on the projects that are identified, we will get 90% funding through TxDOT and the FAA to cover the cost of these projects. Notices will be sent out. The Public Information Office will be sending notices and so forth, posting it on public websites and social media contacts. I hope you enjoyed this brief history of the Scholes International Airport, and feel free to come out and visit us.